Kwik, daily devotions. Abandoned. A lot of times we feel abandoned. In society, we feel abandoned. I mean, even as children, we feel abandoned. A lot of times people, while they don't even believe in God or they steer away from that or it steers them wrong, it's because they feel like they was abandoned by God. Be real with you, let's be real. I got friends that are like that. They don't know God, they don't want to know God, they're against God. And to be real, it's because they feel abandoned. Abandoned because majority of the time their father not in their lives. So they grow this weird type of animosity. If God loves me, why would he let my father abandon me? And a lot of times, even at our age that we is when we get older, we won't ever admit that. But really, it's the truth. And I was reading in the big book, and it was in Genesis chapter 25, to be real. And it got me thinking about that abandoned part. And it got me thinking about why I'm fighting my own self on a daily basis because of even seeing things like that. And having that feeling of looking like an abandoned building on the side. Have you ever seen that and come back times later and that abandoned building is marvelous? Seeing the sense of even fatherhood, 40% in the world don't have no father. Children abandoned. And the black folk is 72%, 70, it's in the 70s, being abandoned. And then we sit back and we wonder why. And why goes for a variety of things. And it makes me think, because our generation, we were the ones started having kids at a young age, and it ain't nothing different than what we were doing then back in the days, way in the 60s, 50s, when they were, getting married at the age of 18 years old. We just having just at that time. But us as men, for real, we not stepping up to the responsibility of really what we're supposed to be doing, and we abandoning the situation. So how can we really look ourselves in the mirror and be like, man, I'm a man? Like, because we're not happy about a situation. Man, we ain't supposed to be happy about a situation all the time. If anything, we're supposed to work through the situation, figure it out. Not everything always goes smooth, especially in relationships, but we get tired because it's easier to dip, it's easier to abandon that situation. Now we looking crazy, having kids over here, kids over here. Children grow up with animosity when they dad have a kid with another woman. Let's be real, because they feel some type of way. So I started reading in the big book, man. For real, the good book got me thinking about being abandoned even in my own situation, from my own father. And why necessarily I feel like, man, I gotta fight, and I gotta feel like I gotta do this for my own peers. He speaks, and he goes in verse 25, chapter 25, 21, he's talking about Isaac and how the mother, Rebecca, bore 2 children, right? And at verse 24 in chapter 25, it says, when her days to give birth were completed, behold, there were twins in her womb. The first came out red, and all his body was like a hairy cloak. So they call his name Esau. Afterward, his brother came out. Now listen to this, with his hand holding Esau's heel. So his name was called Jacob. Now, I heard a story about this before, that in this form of the kids having from Rebecca that really Jacob stuck his hand out first, but got pulled back in. The Esau came out, and Jacob was holding on to Esau's here. Now, back in them days, the firstborn, the father, when they leave in their will, they leave them something. The gift usually is to leave something usually spiritual, something strong, divine. So by Esau coming out, you know what I mean? That's where we get having a birthright, yo. And the reason why I'm speaking about that abandonment, being abandoned by whatever it is in life, dog, we gotta stop necessarily being mad at the one above, because he never abandoned us. He's the reason why we still where we at now. Even if we're in addiction, he's the reason why we're alive still have an opportunity to fight. He's the reason if you alive, able to fight, and to be there for your children. The reason is to get to be able to leave a real will, something that's divine. And it's crazy how I get something like that from reading chapter 25. But the good book gives you that. And really, just imagine your children feeling like that abandoned building on the side of the road. Nah, I'm trying to make mine look marvelous. You know what I'm saying? To be real with you, I feel like I'm Rocky right now. And I'm fighting for my family and fighting for my children, to be real with you. Because fatherhood is really something way more important than we really put a scope on. And shout out to all the mothers doing it on their own, but a mother can only be a mother.